Good day. Today, we will explore the engineering and environmental science for advancement of Japan's sustainable development. Let me introduce myself. I am Justine Maglipon, and this case highlights how Japan combines innovation and environmental responsibility to build a greener future, from advanced waste management system to eco-friendly technologies. Japan serves as a global model for balancing progress with sustainability. Join us as we discover how science and engineering works hand in hand to protect the environment to ensure a sustainable tomorrow. Let us talk about Japan's background specifically in population. Japan's population in 2025 is around 123 million, showing a steady decline from its peak of 128 million in 2008. This country is facing a serious aging population problem, with over 29% aged 65 and above and a median age of nearly 50 years. Japan is also highly urbanized, with about 93% of its people living in cities like Tokyo, Osaka, and Ogawa. This rapid urbanization has improved infrastructure and technology but also increased energy consumption, pollution, and waste generation. An aging society adds to these challenges as older homes and lifestyle tend to use more electricity and produce more waste. In response, Japan is developing energy efficient systems and automated waste technology to produce sustainability. With 338 people per square kilometer and half of the population living in 2% of the land, Japan continues to face pressure on resources and environment, making sustainable engineering and environmental science more vital than ever. Next is geography. Japan is an island nation in East Asia, stretching about 2,400 kilometers in a long arc across the western Pacific Ocean. Its major islands, Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu, along with Ryukyu and Ogasawara island chains. Japan at the strategic crossland of Pacific and Asian trade. However, this location is exposes it to a strong tectonic and climatic forces. Around 70 to 80% of Japan is covered by rugged mountains including Japanese Alps, Mount Kitadake, and iconic Mount Fuji. Because of this terrain, flat land is scarce and only few coastal plains like Kanto Plain supports most of the population, agriculture, and industries. Japan sits on a Pacific Ring of Fire, making it highly prone to earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic activities. The 2011 Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami, for example, caused a massive destruction and led to a Fukushima nuclear disaster. This typhoon also strikes regularly with around 10 to 12 hitting the country each year, causing flooding and landslides. Due to limited inhabitable and agricultural land, Japan relies heavily on imports for food, fuel, and raw materials. This scarcity has pushed the country to develop efficient land use practices, advanced technology, and strong global trade networks to support its economy and population.
Let me introduce myself. I am Armstracybelle, and let's now move to economy. Technology. Japan's technological landscape has evolved dramatically over the past 2 decades. In the 1960s, Japan relied heavily on importing and improving Western technology, which helped fuel rapid industrial growth. Over time, Japan shifted from being a technology follower to a global leader, especially in robotics, electronics, and automotive engineering. Today, Japanese firms set high standards worldwide. As the effects of the pandemic ease, supply chains are stabilizing, consumer spending is rising, and government stimulus has boosted confidence. However, Japan still faces challenges such as an aging population, low productivity, and global uncertainties. Manufacturing. Manufacturing remains a major pillar of Japan's economy, contributing nearly 20% of its GDP. Japan dominates more than 220 product categories globally, including robotics, components, sensors, and semiconductors. These products are essential to global supply chains and reflect Japan's reputation for precision and reliability. To stay competitive, Japan is now embracing automation, AI, and smart factories. The sector is also moving toward decarbonization to help the country work toward carbon neutrality. Automotive. Japan's automotive industry is home to major global brands like Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mazda, and Mitsubishi. This sector contributes significantly to both manufacturing national GDP. Although Japan produces millions of vehicles, most are now manufactured abroad. Between 2019 and 2022, vehicle sales declined due to supply chain disruptions, but battery electric vehicle sales increased sharply. This signals Japan's gradual shift toward cleaner, more sustainable transportation options. Link economy with resource consumption and pollution. Japan is a highly urbanized and industrialized country with limited land and natural resources. Its population is concentrated in coastal cities, increasing pressure on both the environment and infrastructure. Despite rich forests and marine ecosystems, Japan heavily depends on imported minerals, fossil fuels, timber, and fish. After the Fukushima disaster, nuclear shutdowns led to higher fossil fuel imports and increased emissions. However, Japan has begun decoupling economic growth from pollution through improved technology and energy efficiency. Renewable energy efforts after Fukushima disaster. Fukushima has become a symbol of Japan's renewable energy transition. After the 2011 nuclear accident, the prefecture invested in renewable research, hydrogen production, and smart community systems. Renewable energy use increased significantly from 21.9% in 2011 to 34.7% in 2019. Although challenges remain, Fukushima's progress reflects Japan's push toward cleaner energy and smart, sustainable systems. Economic growth and sustainability challenges. Japan continues to struggle with balancing economic growth and environmental protection. Data shows that carbon emissions remain linked to economic expansion, especially in energy intensive industries. The environmental Kuznets curve suggests pollution increases during early growth but may decline as economies shift to cleaner sectors. Japan must strengthen decarbonization strategies, expand renewable energy, and innovate further to ensure long-term sustainability while maintaining economic stability.
Good day, I am Jude Paulo Mercado, and now we move to human health. First is general health. Japan is known for having one of the highest life expectancies in the world because of its traditional diet of fish, vegetables, soil, and rice. These eating habits help reduce risk of heart disease, dementia, and disability, while their active lifestyle and strong health programs support overall wellness. However, Japan now faces challenges as its population ages rapidly, bringing higher risk of dementia and long-term care needs. Younger people are shifting to Western diets and more sedentary habits, which may increase obesity and chronic diseases. Sleep deprivation is also becoming a concern as many adults sleep less than 6 hours a night. Next is pollution. Air pollution, especially PM 2.5, continues to impact public health in Japan. Even low levels of PM 2.5 are linked to more cases of heart disease, stroke, and respiratory illnesses. Water pollution is another rising issue, with PFAS chemicals found in hundreds of sites across the country, some reaching extremely dangerous levels. These chemicals can cause immune problems, reproductive issues, lung disease, and even cancer. Japan's past pollution disasters like the Minamata disease remind the country of long-term effects of industrial contamination. Then we have climate-related health risks. Climate change is increasing health risks in Japan. Extreme heat with temperatures reaching nearly 40 degrees Celsius has led to thousands of hospitalizations and deaths, especially among older adults. Flooding, such as the severe 2018 floods, causes injuries, infectious diseases, and long-lasting mental health impacts. These climate events place heavy pressure on hospitals and disrupt daily life. On the potential health impacts from industrial activities, industrial pollution continues to pose risks. PFAS contamination in certain regions has reached levels far above safety limits, prompting stricter regulations. Workers exposed to chemicals like dioxins and PCBs can suffer liver damage, oxidative stress, and long-term health issues. Communities living near factories or incinerators face increased risk of cancer, endocrine problems, and developmental issues in children. Although Japan has improved chemical regulations, stronger enforcement and monitoring are still needed.
After the background information of population, geography, economy, and human health in Japan, let's now move forward to the objective of the study. Before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Justine Reyes, and our objective is to understand Japan's current environmental and governance situation by examining how the country manages its natural resources and public health. We aim to identify major activities such as industrial pollution, climate pressures, and urban development that contribute to environmental problems affecting ecosystem and human health. Finally, we will recommend actions, close gaps, and environmental management, including stronger regulations, better monitoring systems, and sustainable practices to protect both people and the environment. Let's now move to description of plants, animals, and ecosystem that is seen here in this country. First is plants. Japan plant life is incredibly diverse due to its wide range of climates and landscape. Some of the most iconic plants include cherry blossom or sakura, which symbolizes cultural and are celebrated during Hanami. Bamboo known for its strength, versatility, and cultural importance, and Japanese cedar or sugi. Valued both as timber and for its spiritual significance, these plants are woven into Japan traditions, architecture, and everyday life. However, Japan's rich flora also faces serious threats. Endangered species like Precious speciosa and wild cherry varieties and alpine plants its Japanese Alps are declining because of habitat loss and climate change. More than 1,700 plants are now on Japan red list, including Rhododendron bonins and Dusa yayamensia. Especially in fragile island ecosystem, to address these threats, Japan has launched urban greening initiatives such as rooftop gardens, vertical greenery, and expanded city parks to combat heat islands and improve biodiversity. Large scale of reforestation and restoration of traditional Satoyama landscape help bring back native forests and strengthen ecosystem services. Community-led projects such as the development of former schools areas and green communal hubs demonstrate how citizens actively participate in environmental restoration and cultural preservation. Plants in Japan are not only essential for biodiversity, providing shelter, food, and stability for beauty and impermanence of life, while conserving plant diversity ensures ecological balance and protect these cultural values for future generations.
Before I start, I'm Dnieze and I'm Dela Cruz, and now let's talk about the information about Japan's animals. Japan's wildlife is incredibly diverse, shaped by its unique geography and climate. Some of the most iconic species, including the Japanese macaque, known as the snow monkey, famous for bathing hot springs. The red-crowned crane, a powerful symbol of longevity and good fortune, and the Asian black bear, which inhabits the mountainous forests. Japan's seas are equally rich, home to dolphins, whales, and coral reefs, especially in the Okinawa region. However, many species face serious threats. The Japanese eel is now classified as endangered, with its population declining over the past 40 years due to habitat loss, overfishing, and illegal trade. Its migration routes across rivers and coastal seas are heavily disrupted, and issues like IUUs, fishing, illegal, unreported, and unregulated activity continue to worsen its decline. Human activities have impacted wildlife across the country. Overfishing, marine pollution, and habitat destruction have reduced the abundance of both commercial and endangered species. In response, Japan has strengthened conservation measures through laws like the Act on Conservation of Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which restricts the capture and trade of protected species. Japan also invests in habitat conservation. More than 30 national parks, wildlife reserves, and marine protected areas preserve forests, wetlands, coral reefs, and coral habitats. Community-based conservation efforts such as red crowned crane restoration programs in Hokkaido show how local participation supports species recovery. Restoration of Satayama landscapes further helps balance agriculture, forestry, and biodiversity. Through these efforts, Japan aims to protect its native wildlife while maintaining environmental sustainability. Next is the ecosystem. Japan hosts diverse ecosystems shaped by its mountains, coastlines, and climate forests, especially temperate deciduous and evergreen types, covering much of the country, with areas like the Ai Biosphere Reserve in Kyushu, serving as a key biodiversity hotspot. Coastal and marine ecosystem, including tidal flats, mangroves, seaweed beds, and coral reefs in Okinawa, support rich fisheries, while rivers and wetlands connect lands and sea, providing habitats for aquatic species. Traditional landscapes like Satayama and Satumi combine human use with ecological sustainability, highlighting the balance between culture and nature. This ecosystem provides essential services from clean water, flood regulation, and carbon sequestration to fisheries to support local food security and economies. They also offer cultural and recreational value through parks, biosphere reserves, and ecotourism. Yet, rapid urbanization, pollution, and climate change, including sea level rise and coral bleaching, threaten biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. In response, Japan has implemented restoration and conservation strategies. Marine protected areas, community-led projects, and the nature restoration law promote the recovery of forests, rivers, and coastal zones. Initiatives like the Cookie Area Project and Aya Biosphere Reserve demonstrate how conservation, sustainable agriculture, and cultural practices can work together to protect biodiversity and maintain ecosystem services for the future.
After the description of plants, animals, and ecosystems of Japan, let's now move to status of environmental pollution of this country. First is air. Japan's major air pollutant includes sulfur oxide, nitrogen oxide, and fine particulate matter, primarily from vehicles and industrial activities. Roads transport is a main source of nitrogen oxide, while heavy industries contribute to sodium oxide and particulate matter. Smoke forms when nitrogen oxide and volatile organic compounds mix with sunlight and pollen from cedar and cypress trees, worsening the season allergies. Strict regulation including automobile nitrogen oxide or particulate matter law and the air pollution control law have significantly reduced emissions over the past decades. Tokyo, for example, cut particulate matter and suspended particulate matter concentration by 50 to 60% between 1990s to 2010s. Despite these improvements, population exposure to particulate matter remains a challenge due to transboundary pollution and ongoing VOC emissions. Next is water. Japan's rivers, lakes, and coastal seas are essential for drinking water, fisheries, and economic activity, but face pollution from plastics, sewage, and industrial discharge. Heavy metals, nutrients, and chemical impact water quality, while PFAS contamination poses a growing public health risk. Historic pollution incidents such as Minamata disease and Itay-Itay disease highlights a severe consequences of industrial contamination. Japan has implemented wastewater treatments including advanced chemical and biological treatments and the ALPS system for Fukushima water. Coastal projects like Tokyo Bay ESG project help prevent eutrophication and improve marine health, balancing human needs with ecosystem protection. Next is soil. Soil contamination in Japan is caused by heavy metals, pesticides, and industrial waste, often affecting agriculture and food safety. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear accident in 2011 added radioactive contamination, with cesium accumulating in topsoil in some areas requiring long-term remediation. Clean-up efforts has removed millions of cubic meters of contaminated soil, with a portion of safety reused in construction and agriculture. Techniques such as chemical waste and on-site treatment address heavy metals and cyanide contamination. These measures ensure safer and agricultural production and reduce health risks from contaminated soil. Lastly, for noise. Urbanization, traffic, and industrial activity make noise pollution a major issue in Japan, especially in cities like Tokyo. High-speed rail, elevated roads, and dense traffic contribute to a continuous background noise, affecting sleep, heart health, and overall well-being. The Environmental Noise Management Act and local regulation limit the allowable sound levels, enforcing zonings, and establish penalties for violations. Urban strategies include noise barriers, speed restrictions, and quiet pavements, double glazed windows, and green buffers to reduce sound exposure. Combined planning and engineering solutions have significantly improved living conditions in Japan's crowded cities.
Let's move to major activities causing environmental pollution with impact on human health. In industrial emissions, in Japan, industrial activities such as power plants, steel production, manufacturing, and refineries release sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, and carbon dioxide into the air. These pollutants contribute to chronic respiratory diseases, asthma, and cardiovascular problems. Industry accounts for about 34% of Japan's total CO2 emissions, and regions like the Tokyo Bay and Osaka Bay still experience high nitrogen oxide levels despite strict regulations. Studies show that even low concentration of fine particulate matter between 8.3 and about 13.1 micrograms per cubic meter are linked to higher respiratory mortality. In Nagasaki, sulfate and organic carbon emissions from industrial combustion nearly double the risk of severe asthma in children. This highlights that industrial emissions continue to pose serious threats to public health, requiring ongoing regulation and cleaner technologies. Now on to transportation. Transportation is a major source of air pollution, mainly from cars, trucks, and shipping. Diesel trucks and older vehicles release nitrogen oxides, carbon dioxide, and particulate matter, which exacerbate asthma, allergies, and other respiratory conditions, particularly in children and the elderly. Transportation contributes to about 14% of global greenhouse gas emissions, and urban residents exposed to traffic pollution face about 20 to 30% higher risk of respiratory illnesses. While Japan promotes public transport and electronic vehicles, emissions from conventional transportation remain a significant environmental and health concern. Now on to waste generation and improper disposal. Waste management issues, including the numbering of household, medical, plastic, and industrial waste, can contaminate soil and water. Incineration of waste produces dioxins, which harm the lungs and skin. Japan generates about 42 million tons of municipal solid waste annually, which plastics are a major component. Although strict segregation and recycling practices exist, improper disposal continues to affect local environments and human health. For agricultural activities, agricultural pollution mainly comes from chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and livestock waste. Runoff contaminates rivers and lakes with nitrates and other chemicals, harming ecosystems and human health. Agriculture contributes about 3% of national greenhouse gas emissions, but local impacts on water quality are significant. Areas with extensive farming have reported nitrate contamination, which can lead to conditions like methemoglobinemia, in infants and other health risks. Now for marine and water activities. Being an island nation, Japan faces marine pollution from plastic waste, oil spills, port activities, and wastewater discharge. Pollutants harm marine life and enter the food chain, increasing the risk of hepatitis A, cholera, and heavy metal exposure through seafood. Japan generates around 8.5 million tons of plastic waste annually, a portion of which ends up in the ocean, affecting fisheries, coastal communities, and human health.
After tackling the main activities causing environmental pollution with impact to human health, let us now move forward to the different key agencies involved in environment and health concerns. Ministry of the Environment. The Ministry of the Environment, or MOEG, is Japan's primary agency for environmental policy and management. It oversees pollution control, waste management, biodiversity protection, and climate change mitigation. The MOEG enforces strict environmental standards to ensure that industrial and urban growth aligns with sustainability goals. It monitors greenhouse gas emissions, promotes renewable energy, and supports Japan's goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. The ministry also conducts public awareness campaigns and collaborates with local governments to enforce regulations. Overall, MOEG serves as the cornerstone of Japan's environmental protection and sustainable development initiatives. Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. The MHLW safeguards public health against pollution-related risks. It monitors food, water, and air quality while analyzing disease caused by chemical exposure and respiratory issues. The ministry sets safety regulations to protect workers from hazardous materials and industry pollutants. By partnering with hospitals and research institutions, MHLW supports national health policy and provides guidance on environmental health hazards. Its main objective is to ensure safe living conditions and promote the well-being of Japan's population. Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. METI promotes sustainable industrial growth while balancing environmental preservation. It encourages energy efficient technologies, renewable energy use, and eco friendly manufacturing practices. Through funding and incentives, METI supports innovation in green technologies, and sustainable production. The ministry also drives the transition to a circular economy by promoting resource efficiency and recycling. Working with MOEJ, METI ensures that Japanese industries remain globally competitive while minimizing environmental impacts. Japan Meteorological Agency. The JMA monitors climate, weather, environmental changes, providing critical data on extreme events, radiation, acid rain, and air quality. It contributes to early warning system for heat waves, floods, and typhoons, reducing disaster risk. Long-term climate monitoring helps assess the local impacts of global warming. JMA's accurate data supports government agencies and researchers in developing effective environmental policies and public safety measures. Its work protects both ecosystems and human populations from climate and pollution related threats. National Institute for Environmental Studies, NIE.
After tackling the different key agencies involved in environment and health concerns, let's now move to the efforts by the government in addressing pollution problems. Japan has built a strong legal framework to protect the environment and promote sustainability. The Basic Act on the Environment serves as the foundation, emphasizing fairness for future generations and the polluter pays principle. It guides the creation of national basic environment plans to coordinate actions across sectors. Supporting laws such as the Air Pollution Control Act, Water Pollution Control Law, and Soil Contamination Countermeasures Acts set emission standards, require monitoring, and mandate cleanup of polluted areas. The Environmental Impact Assessment Law ensures projects assess environment effects, encouraging transparency and public participation. Japan also works with the global organizations through reviews like the OECD Environmental Performance Review and provides compensation through the Act of Pollution-Related Health Damage. Altogether, these laws and initiatives strengthens accountability and reflects Japan's commitment to sustainable development and public health protection. Programs, projects, and interventions. Japan implements several programs to address pollution and protect public health. The Environmental Restoration and Conservation Agency manages the act on compensation for pollution-related health damage, treating individuals affected by the industrial pollution and holding polluters financially responsible. Urban greening initiatives, such as the Green Area of Buffer Zone project, create green spaces to absorb air pollutants and reduce urban heat. Through the Basic Environment Plan, Japan enforces strict emission controls on industries and vehicles, which have effectively lowered levels of sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides, leading to cleaner air and improved public health. These initiatives not only combat pollution, but also support environment sustainability, protect ecosystems, and promote a safer, healthier future for communities.
Let us now slide to the analysis on adequacy of the government actions. Japan has taken formal steps toward governance reform, emphasizing openness, participation, and digital transformation. According to the OECD's Government at a Glance 2025, programs like Open Government Initiatives, Digital Government frameworks, and procurement modernization show awareness of the need for change. Yet, Japan's digital government index score of 0.48 remains below the OECD average of 0.61, highlighting limited progress in fully implementing these programs. The OECD's Anti-Corruption and Integrity Outlook 2024 notes structured strategies, risk management systems, and regular audits that strengthen transparency. However, oversight gaps remains, such as audit reports not requiring approval and weak public engagement in audits. This measure indicates that frameworks exist but their execution and accountability are still insufficient. Japan's government has a relatively young workforce which could support modernization, but data-driven user-centered service delivery is still underdeveloped. Overall governance shows a strong foundation in rules and institutions, but impacts are uneven, enhancing execution, integrating civil society, strengthening local governments, and improving measurable outcomes, especially in digital services, are essential for achieving fully effective and inclusive governance in Japan.
Now let us move to recommendation on what technology and other management approaches should be applied to address the gaps. To strengthen Japan's environmental management, greater use of modern technology and improved coordination between government agencies is essential. Japan's expertise in automation and digital innovation can be applied to environmental protection through AI, IoT sensors, and satellite monitoring, enabling real time tracking of pollution, emissions, and climate impacts. This data helps agencies like the MOEJ, METI, and JMA make informed decisions and respond quickly to events such as flood and heat waves. Advancing carbon neutrality by 2050 also requires expanding circular economy practices and renewable energy projects, including waste to energy, advanced recycling, and green hydrogen production. Local initiatives like the Tokyo's ESG project and Satoyama Restoration Program support urban greening, biodiversity, and climate resilience. Blockchain systems for waste and industrial monitoring can further enhance transparency while preventing illegal dumping. Finally, involving communities in activities like waste sorting, recycling, and local monitoring increases public responsibility and helps address workforce challenges from an aging population. By combining advanced technology, strong policy coordination, and active citizen engagement, Japan can strengthen its environmental initiatives and continue to lead in sustainable development.
In conclusion, Japan's pursuit of sustainable development shows how engineering, innovation, and environmental science work together to support a modern society with limited natural resources. Because of its industrial growth and dense population, Japan has relied heavily on strategic planning and advanced technology and strong environmental awareness. This has led to eco-friendly engineering system, high-efficiency energy solutions, waste reduction technologies, and strict environmental policies. Environmental science guides Japan's effort in pollution control, waste management, renewable energy, and biodiversity conservation. Through scientific understanding, Japan has built recycling-based communities, green public transportation, and disaster-resilient infrastructure. This solution reduces environmental pressure while improving public safety and quality of life. Engineering and transformed the scientific insights practical system from earthquake-resistant structure to state-of-the-art water purification technology. Japanese engineers consistently design with efficient durability and environmental impact in influencing other countries to adopt similar sustainable models. Strong policies and a culture committed to environment responsibility as Japan continues to integrate science, engineering, and governance, it sets inspiring example of sustainable development worldwide.
We would like to sincerely thank everyone who supported us in completing this case study report for our environmental science and engineering course. First, we are especially grateful to our instructor, Engineer Annico de la Sena, for her expert guidance, valuable feedback, and constant encouragement, which greatly improved the quality of our education. We also extend our thanks to our classmates, friends, and family for their patience, motivation, and unwavering support throughout this project. Their encouragement inspired us to persevere through challenges and gives us our best effort. Finally, we thank God for granting us the wisdom, strength, and perseverance to successfully accomplish this work. For references and annexes, please scan the QR code to review them. This study offers a foundation of deeper exploration into Japan's environmental systems, highlighting key areas where science, technology, and governance interact to shape sustainable practices. The information presented opens opportunities for further analysis of emerging trends such as digital environmental monitoring, climate adaptation strategies, and community-driven initiatives. As Japan continues to face evolving environmental pressures, ongoing research will remain essential to understand how its policies, technologies, and institutions can continue to adapt and improve. Thank you.